Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So yesterday, around this time frame, I had a show with Juan O'Savin. Always enjoy Juan coming on because he's basically on the cutting edge of what's going on out in the world, sharing with us, things that basically can definitely inform us and keep us on the cutting edge of what's out there. But I think that sometimes, the reason for that, let me make sure I'm on the right. So never know about these internet. So even Juan said it goes through the internet goes through the intel agencies before you or I see it. So we might see a little bit of a little pullback here and there because of subject matter here and there. But anyway, he said that we definitely are seeing some significant movement in the arrests coming up. And that's going to be something that I think is going to be amazing. All of us have been waiting for it. But he said, and a lot of us have said this as well, that some of these people are going to be arrested, like, James Comey, Hillary Clinton, James Brennan, on and on and on, George Soros. These people are not the top of the food chain for the people that will ultimately have to be arrested. So it's going to be a longer process than people might imagine. I mean, we could even see governors and mayors arrested. I would be surprised if we don't. We'll see massive numbers of doctors, as I'm going to talk about, probably arrested. I think that a lot of the doctors that are out there right now that know that COVID is the COVID vaccination is a killer, a massive, major killer. They need to get out in front of that, right? Otherwise, they're probably gonna go bye-bye, right? Because a lot of us know that that's a problem. It's being exposed more and more and more. Even Pete Hegseth said that the military officers, 3 stars and above, that mandated that there were going to be vaccination. You had to get vaccinated. You're going to have to get out. That was an unlawful order. So we're seeing a lot. So someone they gave an unlawful order, 3-star admiral, general, so forth. I guess they're going to be prosecuted. So there's so many people, guys, that are going to be prosecuted. We've talked about this for a long time. So Juan was alluding to that yesterday. Now, another thing that he said right from the beginning, he congratulated me for coming out very early on with the Charlie Kirk shooting and revealing and talking and, raising questions pretty much. Now, he said, because we know that this information has to be metered at a certain level out to the public. He said that he believed that Charlie Kirk was actually killed. Now, maybe he has some insights. Maybe Charlie Kirk was killed. Maybe that was a hologram that we saw being shot. Maybe it was an actor that was faking being shot. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Maybe Charlie Kirk really is dead. He even asked me, he said, what do you think happened to Charlie Kirk? Do you think he's in some kind of organization? I said, yeah, I think he's like in the Q team or something, So I don't know. I don't know. They haven't contacted me. I don't have anybody contact me. And that's cool because that way I can reveal. Now I do get, some things that, help me keep me informed to a certain level, but most of my stuff is just, common sense, little, using my mind and knowing things, intuition, a little bit of remote viewing in there, looking at stuff, and then watching, observing, critical thinking, research. And I know how to research well, know how to focus on the things that will give me the answers. So that's where a lot of my stuff is. And yeah, I agree. Charlie is in Gulch, right? So that's perfect. So, Captain Tony, perfect. So, yeah, that Ayn Rand, book, that's perfect. If you haven't read that, what was it? Can't even think of the name. Something Atlas Shrugged. So Atlas Shrugged. If you haven't read Atlas Shrugged, we're living Atlas Shrugged right now. All right. So great book. You can get it on audio. I think I've listened to that book and read it like probably a dozen times. I could probably read it again and get more information out of it. It's really, really good. So she was ahead of her time. She knew what was coming. She was hanging out with some of the elite, all right, and getting information. So she brought out some information. I thought she did a really good job. I love all the work. I think I've read every book she has. So Ayn Rand, fantastic. All right. So President Trump, as we know, speaking of assassination, Charlie Kirk, whether it was real, which I don't believe, at least the way it was presented to us. Maybe Charlie Kirk at one point was assassinated and then they staged something. I don't know. But whatever that was on that stage, that was completely staged on the stage, right? Staged on the stage, right? So it is absolutely, there's Navy SEALs in the audience making gestures and doing all kind of crazy stuff. And some of those people that were there moved very rapidly and took down that scene. And then, of course, they came in and jackhammered everything, and it's like gone, like nothing happened here. What? So, was there somebody that got shot here? Can't tell from looking at the place. Crime scene? No. Kind of reminds me of 9/11 and the buildings collapsing in their footprint. They just cleared all that out very quickly. Kind of same thing they're doing in the Palisades. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Just like wiped that place. I just moved everything out of there. All right. Nothing to see here. And if there's anything left, it doesn't matter. All right. So 8 months later, Palisades, nothing. It's probably going to take years and years and years for Palisades to get cleaned up. So President Trump, obviously, we've already seen a couple attempts on his life, staged, manufactured. Could be the same thing as Charlie Kirk, I believe. Captured operation. They saw what was coming. They just captured operation. The guy that was supposedly shooting at Trump, the kid. I saw pictures of him after he was shot. His blood was dry. He was up on the roof, so I think he was like killed earlier and deposited there. And then they're like, you don't get dried blood, caked dried blood on your head after minutes after being shot. That's ridiculous. So it is. There's a lot of different things and a lot of this stuff. Who's running the show? Who's manipulating the stage that we're watching? President Trump. We know that. There's lots of people that talk about how his life's in danger. One of those is Dan Bongino, right? Dan Bongino. This was kind of a while back that Bongino talked about the Secret Service. Now, of course, Dan Bongino, former Secret Service. I guess he would know. He would know, if there's some kind of event going on that we need to be aware of. So he's talking about, or he did talk about in the past, that President Trump and Secret Service, he needed to be watching out, right? And I've thought this for quite some time. Now, I've been in protective details for very, very high level people in combat zones for Ambassador Bremer, in charge of his detail and certain aspects. But when I look at some of this stuff, I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't trust any of those guys. JFK kind of comes to mind, So, and then of course, that if that was really Secret Service that was protecting him at Butler, PA, boy, that was like the worst, job I've ever seen in my life, right? And I used to do that stuff. I tore that stuff apart. So it seems very suspect. So are the people that are surrounding him now? I mean, I'm not interviewing them. I'm not seeing them. I'm not talking to them. I can't watch their movements and see if they're good or bad. So all I can say is that I wouldn't trust them, right? Kind of like what Dan Bongino's saying right here.
Listen to me. Trump is being hunted by professionals who know exactly what they're doing. And because I hate.
All right. So obviously professionals took out JFK. Now, was it a professional that almost took out Ronald Reagan? Probably just an MK Ultra type guy, not a professional, I don't believe. So he just happened to be, he's probably trained, but he wasn't, they didn't count on the fact that there was going to be a Secret Service guy, a good one, obviously, that dove in and took the bullet for him. Even though that happened, he was still shot and he almost died. And it was after that he kind of started to go into the senility. So we've seen this stuff over time. Abraham Lincoln, McKinley, even Theodore Roosevelt had an attempt on his life. The thing that saved him was that he had, I think, a snuff box in his pocket, and the bullet hit that. I don't know. It's like I'd be like, I don't think so, but whatever. So there's a lot of stage stuff out there, and then there's stuff that's real. Right now, Dan Bongino, like I said, protected Hillary Clinton. Right. So, Dan, what do you? They asked me to protect Hillary Clinton. I said, well, might turn my machine gun on her. So they're like, okay, we're not going to have you protect her. So, but there's people that did. Navy SEALs, Dan Bongino. I don't know. I couldn't have done it. But, somebody's got to do it.
Teases. Is the Secret Service compromised? Now, I know you say, well, Dan, you brought that up last week. Is there a mole, whether intentional or unintentional, in the Secret Service?
So this looks like before he went into the FBI. So this is a while ago, back when he had a show. So he's talking about how, you said this last week. So this is, I don't know, maybe this was sometime after Butler when he was revealing this. But it's still something that needs to be discussed, right? Who is doing these protected details? Because I can tell you, if I was in charge of the protective detail, Charlie Kirk, there wouldn't be any shooting going on that day, right? Not happening, guys. All right, so it's, in my opinion, it's staged. The same thing with Trump. It wouldn't have been a shooting on that day. And you get anyone of my caliber on one of those sites, and we'll clean that shit up real quick. So I don't know what Dan's talking about here, but it is drawing to me, now that I'm seeing it, a while later, I'm like, what's the narrative that's going on here? Who's projecting this, and why was it projected? Obviously, during the time frame where Trump's been through a couple of assassination attempts, probably when this came out afterwards, that the red flags being drawn, being raised. We need to really look at this. So yeah, there should have been a clean sweep of Secret Service, and I don't know if that happened, but it doesn't matter. They should be constantly monitored, and probably from because I've seen Trump's personal detail, and they were really good guys. They were all sharp. I don't know if he has his personal detail that's watching him now. I don't know if he can do that as president, or if he has to have Secret Service. If I was in his shoes, I would probably have my own people. Right? I would definitely not trust the Secret Service.
I'll talk about that. But someone, let's just say, who can be trusted, I spoke to last week at the end of the week, has informed me that their communication system for the Secret Service may be almost entirely compromised.
Now, we know that the Secret Service just recently, I guess, went in UN headquarters and saw that there was a communication issue. that they were basically hiding information. They were like monitoring information from the UN headquarters. And we know that the deep state, makes a lot of money in different ways. And what better way to hide a communication catching and controlling device than have it in the UN? Because we know the UN's compromised. We saw when President Trump and Melania went into UN for him to have a speech. The escalator went out. That's some pretty cheesy, schoolboy type bullshit that happened. And then his teleprompter went out. So this is pretty typical of these idiots that are deep state, play little games like that, but they can be very deadly. They can play stupid little games, but they can also be real problems. And that's what Bongino's talking about.
In other words, people trying to hunt and kill Donald Trump may know more about what Donald Trump is doing than Donald Trump is doing.
Now, I pointed this out with Ambassador Bremer when I was there in the early days before he's being targeted. So I was looking through intelligence, and I said, yeah. And of course, I got a little remote viewing and other stuff going on, and intuition. So I was saying that there was going to be attacks before attacks started. So probably a couple weeks before the car bomb, the first car bomb happened in Baghdad, I said they were coming. Right, from looking at intel, knowing that Iran, they had gotten busted shipping over demolition on trucks. So I was like, yeah. So that got found. So I promise you, there's a lot more here already. Just like we had, that train that had all that, bomb making material, and all that bomb making material in that train. This was like months and months, like almost a year ago or something crazy. It just disappeared. And the FBI, Bongino, hello, never seemed to have found any of that bomb making material. Right. And that was kitchen demolition stuff. So, but, that stuff, I guess, disappeared, and who knows where it's at. I promise you it's getting ready to be used. And, at what capacity. It can be used on a massive capacity, obviously. And it can cause a lot of damage. And we've seen that in the past. All right. So, Bongino, let's see what else he's got to say.
Folks, we got a serious problem. And the problem is the people in charge of the Secret Service right now are not serious people. The people at the top are too busy trying to cover up their own role in the substandard security plan for President Trump. Nothing is going to change. We are in real trouble. I'm not trying to scare anyone. I'm not trying to panic anyone. I'm trying to tell you this isn't over. You thought it was over after the first one? We had the second one. You thought it was over after the second one? Folks, there's more. He is being hunted right now.
All right. So hunted. Yes, we know he's being hunted. He was hunted in his first term. I'm positive. Right? He's being hunted now, and he's going to continue to be hunted. And probably after this term is over, he'll be hunted when he's gone. All right. So he's pissed off a lot of people, and they'll find a way to get him at some point, or try. So yeah, it takes an extreme level of dedication to provide security to someone that is, knowing they're about to be killed. And I've done this for many people, and I've kept them safe. So if you have the right people there, they're going to protect them, which I think we've seen. So that's how they've been able to actually know for Butler, PA, that he was going to be shot at, right? He was going to be assassinated, and they're like, all right, so they found out who was in charge of that. So they're watching a lot of this stuff. They know a lot of this stuff. They stop a lot of it out. Now, the ones that we don't know of, there's probably significant numbers. The ones that we do know of were Butler, PA, and Trump's golf course. right? Those are the ones they let us know about. And it was completely staged, in my opinion. And that's the way they worked out. So I think the same thing happened with Charlie Kirk. Will there be more like that? It's very possible. Will there be real ones? Super positive that it's going to happen. All right. Maybe not at the Trump level. Maybe not on a level of, you know, I don't know, Charlie Kirk or whoever. But there will be assassinations. Obviously, there are. There have been for the last almost decade since Trump first got out. And of course, decades before that, when you look at the deep state activity, we start to decipher, okay, that was a deep state, that was a deep state. And school shooting, bullshit. School shooting over here, bullshit. Right? So on and on and on. So yeah, your bullshit meter absolutely should be on, Rosebud. Good job. Everyone's bullshit meter should be on all the time. Meanwhile, the U.S. Senate just confirmed 107 President Trump nominees, all in one go, 51-47. This despite Chuck Schumer's shutdown. All right, so the government's shut down, but I guess the senators and the congressmen can come in and still do their jobs. I guess they still get paid. Or if they're not, maybe the ones that are, you know, have decided that they're not going to come in because of the government shutdown, and they're trying to blame one group over another. That's probably the Democrats. Then that's like really good, because now we're getting a lot of stuff done. So the Democrats have been pushing back on nominees. So we had 107, 107. All right. So perfect. And Juan actually shared that with me. So that's a good number. There's still stuff getting. And why? Why would he share that? Is it just because of his number, or because we're seeing this is another captured operation? All right. We knew that they were going to shut down the government. So we're like, they had all these plans, just like when President Trump came into office. Remember when he came into office, his first day, January 20th, when he got sworn in, he was like signing like 100 or more. Like they had them already. It's like he got sworn in, and then they got all that paperwork done, and then he brought it to him and he signed it. No, obviously it was pre-planned, and it started wheels turning that definitely started to take down the deep state. All right, the corporation. So we have a constitutional country, and we have a deep state corporate country. And the corporate deep state country is being exposed, is being taken down systematically. It's in every state. It's in a lot of cities, probably most cities. This corporate side is probably more active in some, like Chicago and Portland, than others. LA, right? New York. So now what's going to happen? Trump's going to sit in the military and start to take those cities from the inside before they get really bad, right? Preemptive strike, ambush, taking down the deep state, and they didn't expect that. They're like, well, do we activate our terror cells now that he's sending in troops, or should we wait? We weren't going to do this yet. So throwing them a curveball. So now they have to react. And they already know that they have these terrorist cells within these cities, these sleeper cells and so forth. Chinese, Antifa, BLM, probably Ilhan Omar's people from Somalia. So there's so many guys, so many. We know that we have like up to 1,000 Islamist terrorists in our country right now. That's been determined already, right? So it is amazing. It is amazing how much we are up against, but we all know that we're going to win. We know that, don't we? I know it, and it doesn't mean that I might get taken out. I don't know. But I'm in the fight. I've been in the fight. They've tried to take me out many times already. It doesn't matter to me. I just still keep showing up. Seems like that when you're doing the right thing, you seem to have some protection. And so Trump doing the right thing, got protection. That doesn't mean we give up. It's like we don't have to protect him, obviously. But it does mean that things are moving in a way that maybe somebody goes, oh, I should maybe check under that seat. Oh, there's a bomb. Yes. Let's call it the bomb squad. Call off President Trump. We got a bomb in here. So that stuff's probably happening. Maybe God whispered or angel whispered in one of those guys' ears. That's a good Secret Service guy, right? Probably a good Navy SEAL at one point. So they're doing good work, and we can I think congratulate ourselves that we made it this far and haven't had some really crazy stuff, because we were all anticipating. A lot of people have been anticipating 9/11 times 10, right? We haven't seen it yet. Doesn't mean it's not going to come. It could come, and how many people knew that 9/11 was going to come? I knew that something was coming, but I wouldn't have been able to tell you at any point that it was going to be planes crashing into towers, and then those towers fall in the footprint, right? So we can see these events coming. Maybe some of you too. Maybe some of you too. You've done my courses, yeah. You probably like right online, yeah. I'm like, yep. We've been talking about this for a while. Yeah, there's going to be some crazy stuff happening over the next month or so. So it's a wacky world. That's right, Angel Eye. So it is a wacky world, but if you're a little wacky, it's like, I see wacky coming. It doesn't bother me, right? So that doesn't mean you're kooky wacky, but you're wacky as far as like you're not along the same sheet of music as the deep state, because they try and control consciousness. It's like, this is a real state. No, that's not a real state. It's not constitutional. That's corporation. Oh, how did you know? You guys are so dumb. You're so stupid. It's so obvious. But we fool so many people. How do you know when other people don't know? It's like, because I'm smart. My soul isn't compromised. Or I had to take the vaccine or whatever. So it's crazy. All right, now the U.S. Senate is still active, and today they're active, as you guys saw. I looked it up. They are active. That was real. That wasn't in the past that I was talking about. They did 107 nominations that have been slow rolled from the Democrats. So the Democrats are, I guess, probably in rooms, trying to figure out, how they're losing now, because most polls right now show the Democrats are not looking so good. Right? Not that Republicans look great, but Democrats look a lot worse. So, right. And usually when there's a shutdown, whoever's caused the shutdown usually gets the blame. So there you go, Democrats. Look at history. It'll inform you. Okay, so we know that some things will get shut down. And then we obviously have people that are in positions, unions, and so forth. Most unions are Democrat controlled, kind of like the airports and so forth. The people that work in there, the FAA. The FAA warns Philadelphia, Indianapolis, Albuquerque, Dallas, Houston, and Boston could also be affected, because here we have Nashville and Chicago. Oh, Chicago, really? It's like, surprise, surprise. All right, surprise, surprise, Chicago. Chicago. All right, that's where the mob is, Chicago. Frank Sinatra, sing about Chicago. We know Frank, he's a big mafia guy, So he was Marilyn Monroe's handler, right? Pimp. All right, so Trump floats idea of no pay for furloughed workers. So Democrats want to keep playing this game, then we're going to see some issues, right? So he drops that, and of course we have Hakeem Jeffries that's like, oh, don't worry, we passed a law that can happen, but they are looking at the fact that it might not be that way. And listen to what Trump says. I love this game.
Drags on. President Trump is now weighing whether furloughed federal workers should get back pay for the time they've missed.
The idea was outlined in a draft memo and would be a new interpretation of federal law, one that's sure to stir controversy on Capitol Hill. The administration is also said to be exploring mass layoffs. Listen to the president's response today when asked if workers would receive back pay.
It depends on who we're talking about. I can tell you.
Look at that White House. Isn't that amazing? Look at all that gold. I bet that's real gold. There's a lot of work being done there in the White House in that dash 45 dash 47. We know that the White House was dark all the time. We could look at videos, and they stopped putting those videos out where people could look and see that there's nobody home at the White House for years. How about that? Must have been doing some really good work and cleaning out those tunnels, because we remember when we had all those little children coming up the videos. Amazing how that video was there just the right perfect time. And they showed all those little children coming out of the White House front doors. Why would they have them come out the front doors? Why didn't they just go out the side basement door or something like that? Interesting, right?
The Democrats have put a lot of people in great risk and jeopardy, but it really depends on who you're talking about. But for the most part, we're going to take care of our people. There are some people that really don't deserve to be taken care of, and we'll take care of them in a different way.
The Congressional Budget Office estimates about 750,000 federal workers are affected.
But Democratic leaders pushed back. Here's House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
So I know you guys have probably seen the memes where Hakeem Jeffries and other Democrats have the sombreros on. So when I see him now, I think of him with a sombrero.
And we'll stand with you as we've done from the very beginning of this presidency. And the law is clear. Every single furloughed federal employee is entitled to back pay. Period. Full stop. The law is clear. And we will make sure that that law is followed.
The stalemate in Washington.
You trust that guy? Yeah. He's going to, I guess everybody's going to find out. These guys lie all the time, so we'll see. Huge shock wave is approaching Earth. Interstellar, solar, and geophysical forces begin combining. All right. So what happens? Earth change activity coming to a place near you. It's prophesied, so it is coming. All right, scientists discover hidden kill switch created by COVID vaccine. How many people got the COVID vaccine out there? Raise your hands. I didn't, but raise your hands if you got it. There's a few of you. Some of you don't want to admit it. Right. So go ahead and raise your hand. Let me see. It's not that many. That's good. So, and some of you are not raising your hands because you don't think I can see, but I can. So there's a great number of people that have been vaccinated. And we're seeing that that's not a good thing, especially people that have had multiple vaccinations, right? Boosters and so forth. It's extremely deadly. Now, I've had people that have come on my show. You guys might remember in the early days, there was a British funeral director. I think his name was Looney. I got a picture of him, but he was going to come on my show and stopped it out. All right. So he stopped going on people's shows because he and his family were getting death threats. So they stopped. Eventually, he did come back out years later. He's like, screw it. He just started coming out, and it's like, they kill me, they kill me. So he's been revealing. Now, I remember maybe a year after that goes by, and I was kind of bummed because he did come on, because I thought it would really help a lot of people see that they shouldn't get vaccinated. But still, when they suppress that kind of stuff, and your boss is telling you you got to get vaccinated, it's bad. All right. So that's that's part of what we've been seeing. So Ben Durex, 9. Knucklehead came in and said 9 about 5,000 times in Adolf Hitler. So bye-bye. So anyway, we've seen a lot of this stuff coming in from people, problems with the vaccination. Now I had probably a year after Looney wouldn't come on, I put out there, I was like, is anybody out there that would, be willing to come on the show? You're a funeral director or, embalmer. You've been noticing these white clotting substances out there. And so this one brave Canadian young man, I say young man, but I think he was in his 30s. He's like, I'll talk about it. And I got on, I was talking to him, and he was a really nice guy. He was like, yeah, I don't care. I'll talk about it. And I said, well, I won't put your name out there, and we'll not put your face out there. He's like, that'll be good. So he came on and talked about it, and he called me up like the next day. It's like, can you take that video down? So I took it down, of course. But I was kind of surprised. I was like, I would thought maybe I should do it anyway. But, it's 555 right now. So I guess that's a signature that, that's, I'm on the right track. This needs to be shared. All right. This is something that is really horrifically wrong and is still going on. Now I've had Dr. Kirk Moore on my show, and he's talked about how up until recently, I think July, he was going to be convicted for basically helping people that didn't want the vaccination, but needed the paperwork to say that they had it. So he was helping a lot of people, and they found out about that. And so he was going to get 35 years. So he's been on my show. He was on Tucker Carlson. We're trying to get him back on for another show where he and another gentleman are going to talk about these clot shots. All right. So we talked about the clot shots. I told everybody before they came out, don't get that. It's going to be deadly. I guess 80% of Americans didn't get that word, right? Or they got, bamboozled or forced into it. So now we're seeing severe consequences for that for a great percentage of Americans. And then even I think for a lot of us that are exposed to people that have had that and are basically having shedding, some very nasty shedding that's coming out of their systems because they're massively compromised internally. It's causing a lot of us to have to constantly detox ourselves. Right? And some people get really sick still. But scientists discover hidden kill switch created by COVID-19. So let's look at that. So basically, the clot shot is the gift that keeps on giving. Scientists from University of Oxford and the Chinese Academy of Medical Sciences have discovered a kill switch in human cells that is left behind after a COVID-19 virus infection. And so basically causes, T cells that are a problem, persistent fingerprints linked to mild disease. It's cytokine storms, all kind of crazy stuff. Cytotoxic profile. It says the number of vaccine doses a person had did not correlate with the presence of these public immune fingerprints. So they're not actually being, given some kind of immunity against this COVID toxicity, is what they're calling it. But they're basically being compromised. Their system being compromised. So I'm going to share some video with you guys. So this is Worldwide Embalmer that talks about all this. It's going to be very, very informative. Hopefully we get this gentleman and Dr. Kirk Moore. He's the one that told me about this gentleman. Tom Haviland, former U.S. Air Force major, retired. So he's going to give a little bit of his background, and then we're going to kind of jump into some of the stuff that he's been revealing. This is fantastic because remember how, I talked about how the embalmers kind of like just locked it up, all right, especially the Canadian guy. And then Mr. Looney, he locked it up, but he's trying to reveal again, but he's a lone wolf. But what we're seeing is a lot of really smart ways to get people to talk, right? And that's what Tom Haviland has done. Worldwide Embalmer Survey reveals striking rise in white fibrous clots following COVID-19 vaccination.
Nick, in October 2021, I was a defense contractor working at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio. And that's when Joe Biden came out with the vaccine mandates. And, it wasn't just for the military and the government civilians, but also us defense contractors too. I was working on the base at the time. And a 3-star Air Force general, Nick, had come out with an email to the entire base telling everybody the dates they'd have to get their shots by or else get kicked out. And he kind of tried to guilt us into getting the shot. He said, we've lost too many unvaccinated airmen. So I sent him back an email, Nick. Remember, this is an Air Force 3-star general. I said, shame on you. You failed us. Instead of standing up for our right to decide for ourselves whether or not to take an experimental drug, you chose to spend your time trying to guilt us into taking the jabs. Shame on you. And I didn't just send that email to him, Nick. I CC'd all 30,000 people that work at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So I knew what was going to happen. I got a call a half hour later from my boss of the defense contractor I work for, and I was.
This guy should have been Navy SEAL. He's got some big cojones. All right, so it's amazing. There were a few people that stood up, right? And this gentleman, obviously, Tom Haviland is one of them. But what did it get him? It got him fired from his $165,000 a year job.
Fired from my $165,000 a year job as an engineer for shaming the Air Force 3-star in front of the entire base. But somebody had to do it. None of the colonels, none of the generals were pushing back on what we now know is an unlawful order, right? Pete Hegseth came out a couple of weeks ago and admitted that it was indeed an unlawful order.
There was indeed an unlawful order. So all of those that pushed it, including that 3-star general, what do you think is going to happen to them? How about all the doctors that know that these clot shots are killing people, and they're pulling, as you're going to find out, these white fibrous clots from people that are living. All right, we're finding it in the dead, and we've seen this in videos for quite some time. Died suddenly. If you guys remember, died suddenly. I can't show that trailer because you have to quantify that you're 18 or above to even watch the vaccine or watch this. But 5 billion people around the world were vaccinated. And that's very tragic. As you guys are going to see, this is increasingly becoming a very big problem for the world. And people are dying and people are having problems. I remember in one show that I saw where they were breaking down, the issues with having been vaccinated. And number 5, one of the issues was death. And I'm like, wouldn't that be number 1? But think about it. Think about those people that are in those 4 categories that are above that. What kind of hell life they're living because they've been vaccinated, right? That's worse than death.
To make you take an experimental drug against your will. So I'm glad I did it. I'd do it again. But it turned out to be a blessing in a way because it then gave me the time. I went into early retirement to allow me to do these 3 worldwide embalmer blood clot surveys.
Wow. Well, you're so brave for doing that, honestly. So everybody who worked there at Wright-Patterson, they all saw the email. Wow. And so, but you're in.
So
2023.
Out of all those
so
people that saw that email,
so this starts to give me
I wonder how many of them actually took the advice and didn't, get vaccinated. Probably not so many. Now, I'm just going to jump through these. Like I said, hopefully we'll get them on and we'll talk in more detail. Did you observe? So this is embalmers. There's also a video. Let me show the video before we go into this. So let me see. Numbness, white clots, appearance. There was a video. I don't see it in here now, but anyway, there was a video where he was talking to embalmers. I think it was in Pennsylvania, because he put out this survey. So this is perfect. instead of having individual embalmers and, you know, people that run funeral homes come in and put themselves in the line of fire, you can do a survey, which is, you know, no one knows your name. So this is perfect. So it was sent out to, I guess, Ohio embalmers and Pennsylvania embalmers. So he had also sent it out to, I think, 23 other major cities and so forth, or states that had, you know, high population rates, and those did not come back. So it was only a couple states where the embalmers really had the cojones to actually do the survey. And he also did a survey for doctors, because he's heard from several doctors that have told him how they're pulling this fibrous mass from people's veins. And then they were, I guess they were talking to him, and then they said, I can't talk to you anymore because my hospital found out and I have to stop. Otherwise I'll lose my job. So he heard from a couple of different doctors about that, and pretty significant what they were saying about it. But, you know, again, the doctors aren't talking about it. We're not hearing from nurses. We're not hearing from other practitioners. If there's something that's anomalous where people are having these clots and so forth, it should be talked about. It should be brought up. So he's been doing the work that the you know, Food and Drug Administration and WHO should be doing, World Health Organization. They're suppressing this. And doctors, if they speak out, lose their jobs. And embalmers, if they go off from, you know, their groups and speak individually, they're under attack as well. So this is tough. This is very tough, guys. Now we know that, you know, with LifeWave, we talked about it. David Schmidt and I have done a show on it a couple of years ago, where we talked about they did tests where they showed that the LifeWave patches were actually helping people. Now people don't know that they're dying from, you know, this vaccination. If people don't realize that they're having heart problems from the vaccination, cancer rates through the roof, fibrous clots within their vascular systems, they're having trouble breathing. It's even going into the lungs, all kinds of crazy stuff. If they don't know that there's a way to treat it, right? So this is the problem, getting this information out. Again, it's like, you know, 2020 or 2020, 2021 all over again. It's very, very frustrating. And, you know, we get this word out, but it doesn't resonate, or people, you know, attack the messengers and so forth. Definitely a lot of attacking of the messengers, but the information is here. If you watch this, it's through the roof. The information that's in here.
Okay. 250 of them, 83%, said they were seeing the white fibrous clots in the year 2024. And that's actually
increased.
Yeah. Richard Hirschman and I aren't sure if it's
all right. So it keeps going up. It's not like it's just falling off, guys. It keeps going up from 73%. So 73% in year 2023. Now it's 10% more, 83%. When it becomes 100%, is somebody going to put it out? Right? Probably not, unfortunately.
different corpses of the white fibrous clots. So
they're finding them. They're finding them. It's there. It's real.
It's definitely there. The next question we asked was, did you see the large whitish fibrous structures, clots, in a higher percentage of corpses in 2024 than you did in 2023?
So he's not asking specifically COVID. He's not saying COVID shots, but he has, at the bottom of this questionnaire, he has comments, and the comments are blowing it up that people are saying they haven't seen it and they believe it's the COVID shot.
This is kind of another way of asking that last question again to see what the trend is And that's because I knew that the different embalmers were answering the survey this year as opposed to last year. Interestingly, in my 2023 survey, Nick, my main participant was the Pennsylvania Funeral Directors Association. When I had sent out that survey back in December of 2023, about 5 days in, I only had about 14 responses to that survey. And I said, uh-oh, I need more responses than that. I had all the phone numbers of all the presidents of funeral director associations here in the United States. I sent the survey to the top 30 states by population. So I called all of them that day, and I talked to the folks at the Pennsylvania Funeral Directors Association, asked them to forward my survey to their embalmers, and I know they did that because when I checked my Survey Monkey collectors the next 2 days, the first day I'd gotten 93 more responses, all from Pennsylvania embalmers. And then the day after that, I got 32 more responses, again from Pennsylvania embalmers. So in just 2 days, I got a total of 125 responses from embalmers in just that one state in that 2023 survey. And it told me a couple of things, first of all. It told me, first of all, that the embalmers, they want to tell you what they're seeing in the embalming room, but if they think they have the permission from either their funeral director boss or their state funeral director association. But it also told me, hey, there was, 29 other funeral director associations I sent that survey to. How come they didn't respond? 20 years in the Air Force, and then 16 years after that as the defense.
So yeah, so there's a lot in that he reveals. All right, he has a lot of stuff. It's a lot of us have been talking about this for years, trying to help people see this. It's been covered up. It's been suppressed. I guess they'll figure that if they suppress it long enough, then people will forget. But how can they forget when the numbers of people dying is increasing? It's going to attract more attention at some point, I would think. I don't know. Now, the reason why they discussed it, one of the reasons why the doctors aren't more aggressive with reporting is because if they do report, then there's a possibility they can be held accountable. And they will be. I say to them right now, I don't know how much you're earning, but you're not going to be able to spend that money when you go to prison. Right? So I don't know. Do we take all the doctors? Because it's almost all the doctors in the world now that push this thing. If we take all the doctors, who's gonna do the medicine? I don't know. Maybe we restart that process. Maybe we start that now. Right? We start make sure they don't go through the Rockefeller Medical Association teaching, and that will help a lot. And maybe we get some of those people out there that know that this is a problem and haven't been able to speak out because they know that their lives, their families' lives are in danger. Everything's in danger. And so that could be one reason why they might be given a little bit of a leeway as far as prison time. But for a lot of them, I think it's going to be a problem, and that's remains to be seen how that's handled going forward. All right, so John Looney was the embalmer, like I talked about in Britain, that basically backed down. I think it was his wife. I heard that it was his wife, and I don't want to go too deep into that. I guess I shouldn't have even said that, but he basically backed off, and he backed off for quite some time. I think it was a couple of years, year and a half, 2 years, and now he's out, trying to disclose, but he's one voice, and I'm surprised that he's even still alive, actually. So we'll see more people, I think, at some point start to speak out. And it could be because of this video and maybe some videos in the future. Now, 8 months after the Pacific Palisades fire, how is this possible?
The removal of hazardous materials from this site is complete. Mission accomplished. That looks like there's a lot left to do. But I don't know, you tell me in the comment section what you think about that. This was the building where my grandpa got his hair cut for 50 years. This is 8 months after the fire. Look at this, melted. That's on the day of. There's nobody here either. It's the eeriest part about it. It's like it's empty. There's nobody in this neighborhood. There's a guy over there digging through a dumpster, but that's literally the only person I see on this street. And it's like, why aren't there people?
So the scene on the left is this street, all right, full of people. And now, 8 months later after the fire. Now, of course, you look at all the trees, green trees, buildings burned to the ground pretty much for the most part. You're going to see that throughout this. It's pretty unbelievable.
Paris here 8 months ago. Let's go have a look around.
I've had a few weeks since filming this to think about the situation in the Pacific Palisades and Altadena. Because honestly, when I was filming this video and driving through the Pacific Palisades, I was in shock. I could not truly process.
Again, how are these we know how they're direct energy weapons, but they lead us to believe that, sparks flew from one concrete building to the next and burned them to the ground, while trees right next to them are still standing, untouched.
Or verbalize my feelings and emotions surrounding this disaster. So I think the first thing that I've learned is that you really can't understand the scale of this disaster until you actually visit it for yourself. They do not register until you go there. For example, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers worked nonstop for almost 8 months and removed 2.6.
See all those people in hazmat suits? And as you see, they scrape everything away. Everything. Because a directed energy weapon, like I've told you guys over and over again, leaves lots of radiation because of the microwave energy and the way it's basically interacting with the molecules and so forth, highly activating them. That's how they were able to microwave energy, basically burn all this stuff to the ground. And there's nothing left. And in some places, they have to dig deep into the ground because we know that microwave energy can go below the surface and interact with piping and so forth. We've seen this in a lot of these fires where there's no water, like we saw in Lahaina, like we saw in Paradise, because a lot of the pipes that are underground were melted. That's amazing how that fire on the surface, got so hot in some areas that were basically, there's nothing burned around them, but they got so hot, they melted the piping underground so that there was no way that water could come and fight those fires. Same thing happened here.
Million tons of debris, more than the volume of New York's World Trade Centers. There's a lot of information to take into account when trying to understand these fires, as well as the response to them and the aftermath of this disaster. Recently, a 132-page report was released, an incident report released by LA Fire. It shows failures of communication, preparation, coordination, and more. You can also still...
So this is all on purpose. We know that. The failure of communication, we saw that in 9/11. We saw that in Paradise. We saw that in Lahaina. Communication failures. People didn't know what to do. People got wrong information. People did the wrong thing. On and on and on. And this was just so that they could cause more confusion and kill more people. And that's what they did in all of these instances. 9/11, you name it. Wherever direct energy weapons have been used, there's always this failure of communication, and then water doesn't come to these places and all kinds of crazy stuff. So very, very obvious when you start to break this down, what really is going on. It is deep state activity. So we had COVID, where they're killing us off, still killing us from COVID. Then they come in and burn us out of our cities, killing people in the cities, in their homes, burning them to the point where they're just ash and they disappear. And this happened in every one of these areas. People just completely disappear, right? That's because they're burned into ash. And that's what happens. You ever microwave something too long, and it really dries out a lot. So same thing when you microwave the human body, like we saw with up to 1,000 people that jumped from the building in 9/11. They say there was only maybe a couple hundred, but the real number is nearly 1,000 that jumped. Of the almost 3,000 that died, almost 1,000 of them jumped to their deaths because they're being microwaved, right? So this is part of the truth that has to come out at some point. There's those of us that are revealing it, but it keeps getting suppressed. How long has it been since 9/11? We're almost quarter of a century has gone by now, and still people are compromised mentally about that. They don't understand, what happened there. So when we have something in the Pacific Palisades, it doesn't make it. People just are just completely dumbed about it. It's unbelievable. Now, I know that someone that lives in this area, and I talked to her just recently. I'm not going to give out too much information because she's still working on this, many years later. But the corruption that is within LA, where they're stealing homes now, they're stealing homes obviously from this Palisades fire, because these people burned out of their homes. Who knows if they even got any insurance? I can tell you that many of us, from the flooding that happened from Hurricane Helene in Florida, I lost probably about $50,000 worth of stuff. No insurance coverage. Why? Because it was a flood, and flood is not covered unless it's a flood from the home burst a pipe, or there's wind damage from a hurricane. But flooding, not so much. All right. So he talks about how many people weeks before this fire had their insurance canceled. Massive numbers of people had their insurance canceled for what reason? And they couldn't figure it out. And of course, it becomes very obvious when you have this fire.
Smell the smoke in the air. I mean, there's still.
So this person that's in LA, she and her husband, were part of building some beautiful streets in LA. They were very smart. They bought, these blocks, put up buildings, beautified the street, put up a building that was rented by the city for 20, 30 years, whatever. And then it was time for the lease to be renewed. And they're like, we own this building. What? You own this building? No, this is our building. And so they did lawfare against them. And for 7 years, she has fought the city of LA for her property. And in the end, her property is worth $17 million now. And the city, it's in limbo. It's lawfare, right? So it's happening probably to a lot of people in Palisades as well.
Tons of burnt trees and, rubble. You see, 8 months later, you can still smell the fire. So, and while this document tried to provide more information about the fire, the response, and the aftermath, it leaves you with so many questions. How could something like this happen? How could
and all these trees are green and not touched. How could all of these homes be scorched to the point where they're non-existent anymore, yet the trees next to them are untouched?
Devastation be so total? How could insurance companies foresee an event like this and cancel home insurance policies in the weeks beforehand? How could the local government be so inept, cutting resources from the fire department and leaving a 117 million gallon reservoir empty for over a year before the fire? This is insane. Driving through.
All right. So yeah, 8 months later, complete and utter bullshit. And people still aren't catching on, right? Is the news covering this? Of course they're not. All right. So we are the news. We're covering it and we're disclosing it. But how many people are going to respond to this? How many people are going to like push back? LA, probably one of the bluest cities in the world, right? Left us beyond belief. Nothing happening, right? So, I mean, you got people like Mel Gibson, pushing back and nothing happening. All right. So you can't get more star power than that. He had his home in Malibu that was burnt to a crisp. So, a lot of people suffered. I think the number that gentleman, I think it was like $250 billion worth of damage. I might be wrong, but I think it's around that number. That's unbelievable, right? But I know for the deep state, it's dropping a bucket, right? And Gavin Newsom, when they were asking him about the damage, he was like dancing. Oh, we're gonna have some investors come in, and they're gonna take over and buy the stuff. And it's like, and people saw that, and you would think that he would get that lovely little necklace, right? Strung around his neck and up around a telephone pole somewhere, but I don't know. No one seems to want to do anything. So I guess it continues. It continues for you guys in California. All right. So this was from a friend of a friend of a friend. I just talked to my sister. She's a school bus driver. She told me they had a huge meeting regarding ICE. This is Chicago, coming and taking students off the bus. So maybe ICE is coming for illegal alien students, right? And the company told the drivers not to allow ICE on the bus. Now, how are they going to do that? Are they going to carry guns and shields and get the students behind them to push back on the ICE officers that are coming to arrest illegal alien students? All right. Take them off the bus. And so anyway, she said she's not going to let them. She's not going to do that. All right. So this is pretty typical of the deep state guys. They want you to follow their commands, just like that 3-star general, the former major was talking about, that was ordering 30,000 people to get a shot. They don't care. They don't care the consequences. You obey, right? For this bus driver, this woman, they want her to obey. Now, what if she were to forcibly try and stop ICE officers? She'd be arrested. Would the deep state come and help her? No. Now, what if she resisted to the point where she felt that, like we saw in Chicago just recently, someone brought a gun when they boxed in a bunch of ICE agents, and a woman got out and started shooting. Now, what if one of these bus drivers decided to take it to that extreme and they got killed, right? In front of students. This is the kind of bullshit that we're going to go through, guys. These consciously compromised people that are MK Ultra to an extreme are going to start to do really whacked out stuff in these big cities, right? They've had at least 8 years of Trump derangement syndrome, MK Ultra training. So, all right. So that's the way it's going to continue until, we start to fight back. We get together and start to push back on this. All right. So here's that video clip. It was in another little slide that I have. So I'm going to share that. Just let you see that, this is real. It's not really showing anybody, but it's letting you see that the people are starting to, in their own way, are starting to respond and trying to, inform. So we're going to ask the question about the white clots.
So, in fact, in bombers, can I get a show of hands in the room? How many folks can?
So he's asking for a show of hands. How many people in the bombers and funeral directors in the room there have actually seen these white fibrous clots.
We're actually doing active embalming right now. Raise your hands, leave your hands up, okay? Of those people, leave them up.
All right. So it is, and this is just one small group. This is happening all over the world, and it's being kept quiet. Wow. Right. So, I mean, what are those embalmers going to do? They're going to push back against the deep state, right? Deep state will send some of their compromised officials, I guess, to like write them up and send the compromised law enforcement at them, and then take them to a compromised judge that'll throw them in prison for a long time. It's tough. It's tough, guys. It's tough for a lot of these people that want to push back. All right. In the meantime, you have to have the wherewithal and the money to survive the deep state. So we talk often about going into silver. All right. So let's look at the silver price, potential silver price. So this is this one gentleman's. This is off of Bald Guy Money. Pretty good site. So they look at the M2 supply, the money supply, the money they've been dumping into the economy. That has basically made the stock market go to unbelievable heights it hasn't seen since the 2000 dot-com crash. So we're pretty much in 1999. Remember that one song by Prince? We're going to party like it's 1999. So that's pretty much where we're at right now, guys. So party like it's 1999 because this crash is coming. It's going to be a doozy. All right. But if you're in gold and silver, you can weather the storm and maybe even be on the opposite side of this and do really good stuff with this money. Maybe you'll start a clinic that helps people that have been, clot shotted, right? Help heal them. And you'll make a great impact on humanity. Maybe you'll start a LifeWave business that'll help a lot of people that have been clot shotted. I don't know. So anyway, here is what the value of gold and silver, if we were to tie it to today's M2 money supply, like it has been in the past. Gold right now would be 22,000. If you go with I think we're probably 80 to 1 right now, or maybe 90 to 1 silver to gold ratio. But if you went at that rate, 22,000, you'd have a 40 to 1 ratio, which is still high above the norm. You'd have $550 silver. So if you have a quarter, like an old quarter, 1964 quarter, right now, I think it's like $8, maybe $10 a quarter. So junk, Juan O'Savin talked about junk silver. So that's one way. If a lot of you guys are saying, I don't have the money to buy, the silver, blah, 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 get junk silver, guys. All right. Let's get a bag of junk silver, buy it as much as you can. So really, a quarter, a friggin' quarter, 1 quarter. 1964 silver quarter. Last I checked was $8, right? And that's going to go up just 1 quarter, right? So if you got some more significant amounts, then you would do, they'd be quite valuable. So if you went 15 to 1, which is a long-term norm, it would be, that silver would be worth $1,467 an ounce. Now, if we go, so this gold silver boom, when you look at history and the amount of time that it has been basically gearing itself up, getting energized to basically take off, one of the biggest cup and handles ever in history for any asset in the history of the world, right? So when you have something like that, we're at the top of that handle and is getting ready to explode upwards, silver is. Gold is too, because gold is basically in the same situation. A long cup and handle. So long term. So you're going to see potentially multiple years of gold and silver going up. Now, it doesn't mean that in somewhere in there you can sell some, make a profit, buy something good, maybe buy some real estate, Maybe buy, like Juan was talking about last night, maybe buy a tractor because all these Chinese that have come in and bought all these farms, those farms got to go to somebody, right? So maybe you get a tractor and you start, growing food. Who knows? All right. So there's lots of potential that's coming. One of the greatest potential times in history was 1920, after 1929 crash and the years afterwards. There were massive fortunes that were made after that time frame, guys. So if you get stuck in, things crashing and woe is me, so forth, you're going to miss one of the greatest potential multi-generational opportunities in history. One of the ways you can benefit from that is being in silver, right? So again, if it goes to that all-time high, and it doesn't mean you necessarily hold all the way to 2040, right? So it doesn't mean you have to hold for the next 15 years. That's just potentially a long-term process. 13 to 15 years is usually when gold and silver really take off in a bull market. That's how long it lasts, right? And this is potentially how long this one will last if we look at historical norms, right? So you could potentially see silver at $3,333 an ounce. Crazy, right? I don't know what that quarter is worth in those prices, but I'm sure it's like about $1,500, $1,000. I don't know. So crazy numbers, guys. So get yourself in a position where you can benefit from this. Of course, my guy is Dr. Kirk Elliott, free consultation. Check him out. But at minimum, you should have some of this on hand, right? I wouldn't do a lot of it because if you got a lot of it, you could get robbed. And if you get robbed or your house burns or I got another burn-proof safe. Well, look at all those people that had their all their valuables in those directed energy weapon attacks on their homes. Everything melted. Guns, coins, everything was burned in their safes. So long term, let's look at gold and what's going on with the market right now, long term. So let me share the screen again. I got some stuff for you tonight. I got some stuff to share with you. If you don't have a long attention span, go take a nap and come back, right? Watch again. Right? So let me get back where it was. It kind of like jumped. All right, right here. Gold prices have now posted their 8th. So we're looking right here. So we look at the date. Their 8th consecutive quarterly gain. This is gold. Silver always outpaces gold in the early stages, and then gold starts to take back over again and starts to keep chugging higher. So silver is like the rocket, and then you get off and you second stage it into gold, and you go higher to the moon or Venus, wherever you're going to go. But you have 8 right here. So the next one is a 9-quarter run in 2019, 2020. Of course, the COVID timeframe, right? So, and I remember in that time frame, I'm like, there's going to be a market crash. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? And I said, it's going to crash around here. And it did. So there's going to be a market crash. Right? I've been saying that for a little while now. Now I believe it probably is going to be in the first or second quarter of next year. I think they're going to really ramp this market up, guys. Now, will it get a pullback like I thought that it would? We may, and we'll kind of look at that. We may get a little bit of a market pullback, and then it'll take off, and it'll just go to the moon. So the biggest one in history right now was 2009, 2011. That recession, big recession, went 12 quarters straight. I think we're going to see. Now, numbers are going to be like yawn, right? We're going to see quarter after quarter for years going forward. We may see one quarter or here or there where it gets pulled back, but pretty much for years, guys, we're going to see this gold price and silver price really trajectory upwards. All right, so let me find that other one. that I wanted to share. So this one basically shows the, here it is. I think it's right here. I can barely see it. Turn my light up. All right. So right now, the S&P, in regards to NASDAQ performance, is at a high, one of the highest rates it's been since back in the dot-com crash. All right. So look at this chart. All right. So this is the dot-com. You are here, 1999, right? Party like it's 1999 because it's going to go up the next year from here into next year. And then it's going to go down a lot more than 77%. NASDAQ went down 77% or nearly 77%, and it didn't come back for a very, very long time. I'll show you guys that in a minute. So look how it's basically bouncing along these highs. This is 2022, where I said it's really going to, this is a crash, but somehow they started cutting rates and pumped money into the system and kept it alive a little bit longer. All right. So we're probably going to get, like I said, that 1999 last hoorah, and then it's going to be crash city for a long time. All right. So look at this. AI deals are dominating the venture market. Look at that. Bam. So AI is pushing that stock market performance, just like all those .com. Like 90% of the .coms, other than Amazon and some of the other ones that, you know, survived. Not a lot of them. Google, I think, you know, whatever. I don't think Google was back then. But anyway, there were only a few that survived. I think it's going to be the same thing with crypto. Only a few will survive. But look at that. That AI deals. So AI is basically the .com of our time. Right. So that's really what's driving what's going right now. And you always hear this time is different. And when you hear that, you're like, okay, this is going to crash. Absolutely, it's going to crash. Right. We're effed. Right. Whenever you hear that. All right. So let me share the long-term SPX. So this is what most like market timers and so forth look at, the S&P 500. So this is a chart of it for long term. So we're going back in time. So this is a monthly on the spider SPX. All right. So you see here you are. Look at that. Boom. So that's 2022. And then it's just been going straight up like crazy since then. Here's the, you know, back in, or this is 22. This is 22. We're down. It's just been going up since then. So this was the, what's that? 22, 20, and then it went down. Here's the stock. Here. Okay. So here's 20, the COVID crash. And then it just went up and up and up. Got a little pullback and went up. So I think we're going to get a little bit of a pullback, and then it's going to go up like crazy. And then we're going to go over here and party like it's 1999, right? So here we are. This is 99, December 1999. And then we went up, 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 up. And then we came down. Now, what was the low in the .com crash? I've said this a few times. Let's see if anybody's paying attention. What was, for the S&P 500, what was the low? Anybody? 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 Bueller? Oh, well, I got to like really, you guys have been chatty. Like had it stuck way back there. Good God. All right. Anybody? See if somebody comes up with the, God, that's really, let's go to new comments. Oh, somebody said 400. Okay. Anybody else? Cujo. Nice guess. Anybody else? $22. Nope. A little bit more than that. 900. Cujo. 900. All right. So anybody else? All right. So I've said this several times, what this was. And I was looking at it. Yeah, Art on the Lake Bueller. Ooh, Alice Allen wins 666. Good job, Alice. You paying attention. All right, so 666. Now, your boy Mikey, look at it, and I saw some mole 666 stuff. I was like, oh, you dirty demons, dirty demons playing your games. So let's look at the window. Let's open that window. So there you go. All right. So here it is. Intraday low of 666.79 on March 6th. March is the third month. 6th day, that's a 9. And then you have 2009. So we invert the 9s, right? For this one, I'm going to play with this one a little bit. So you invert the 9s. So that's 2 9s right there. So that's another 6, another 6, 6. But we need another 6. We're missing another 6. So let's take that 7 and 9 and put it together. And we come up with 18. 18 turns into 9, right? So, or what is it? 7. No, it's 16. I'm sorry. 16. And then we take this lonely 2 over here and we add it to 16, 18, and then we come up with the 19, right? Or 9. So anyway, I did the math. Do the math yourself, right? I can't do it on the fly, evidently, and right off the top of my head. But anyway, I came up with another 666. So we got double 666. And that was a low. So demonic, all right? So that's why I'm like really hesitant about going into the stock market. I'm like, I don't want to play around the demon game, right? The demon, it's crazy. Yeah, 3 plus 6 is 9. Thank you. And so understanding the dot-com bubble, causes, impact, and lessons. So what was the takeaway? Between 1995 and 2000, the NASDAQ index experienced a 5-fold increase. God, I meant to keep that chart up because that chart basically from its low, if you go back 5 years, its low is around 7 or 8 or something like that. So it takes us up, NASDAQ will take us up to about 30,000, which is where I believe we're going to hit the high. So that's a 5 increase, right, from its low. And then when we hit that, it's like, look out below. Right? Look out below. Now, will it get right to that point? Now that I've said that, probably not right to that point because they watch me. It's like, that guy always tells our shit. Now we got to like make it stop earlier. All right. So, yeah, a 5-fold increase, some kind of number game going on with a 5. So it'll come down. So commercial real estate, if you look at the prices right now, since 2022, overall, it's a drop of 35%. Now, in some places, it's a drop of 85, 90%. But for the overall United States, and there's many reasons for that, of course, they blame it on rising interest rates, increased vacancy rates where people don't go to work anymore. They just work from their homes, right? So computers and stuff. So they don't need to go into an office when I can do that at home. Remember during COVID, everyone said, work from your home. And then the offices are like, come back to work. And we're like, I'm living in Florida now. I'm not coming back. So the, office space has really taken a hit. And it's implying from its impact that we're going to see another massive real estate crash. And so we're seeing commercial real estate take it on the chin pretty hard. And it's going to continue to go down. And we're seeing home prices now just go into your ear. I've been pointing this out for several months now. I've been calling this for years that we're going to see a housing market crash. I didn't think it would take this long. It started crashing in 2022 with the stock market. And of course, they're demons. And they do what demons do. They manipulate and make the market go up. It's like magic. It's like it defies all reason. And that's where you should go, okay, the stock market should be falling now. So demons are in control. So it's going to go up, right? So when everybody's like piled in, partying like it's 1999. It's like, drinking and having fun. Look how much money I'm making. And then it's like, whoo, it'll be gone in an instant. And everybody like, I'm just going to hold. I'm just going to hold. I'm going to hold for 13 years, 13 years before it came back. All right. To its high. And then it crashed again. So eventually it was like, I don't know, 15, 20 years, something crazy before we see the highs. So we're seeing the highs, obviously, again, and we'll see the lows again. So it basically, the high was 5. It reached that high level again, 5,000, right? Around 6,000 was where it dipped. And that's where I'm looking at 5 years back, 6. So 5 makes 30. 5 times. So I don't know. We'll see. And like I said, because I've already pointed out, they're probably going to do it sooner. All right. All right. So that's the way this game works. That's why I like to screw with the deep state, because they've really screwed with me. All right. Ukraine threatens to invade Hungary. So this makes a lot of sense. So they're going to go, just invade Hungary. They're going to kill Viktor Orban and take over Hungary, because Russia is going to take over all of Ukraine. So they're going to run to Hungary and Bulgaria and all those countries and basically kill everybody and take over. It's like, you guys, we're going to take over. Russia won't follow us in here. So, and NATO loves us, so we can do whatever we want. We've been doing whatever we want. So we're just going to invade Hungary, take over Hungary. And because they haven't really been helping us out. So we don't like Hungary. And Viktor Orban has been talking some like common sense bullshit. And so we got to take him out. Right. So that's probably not going to happen. But we have to point that out, because that's how desperate Ukraine is getting. They're losing so massively, and NATO is unable to help them anymore, that they're going to get desperate and run and try and be like all those crazy people that are going to go to our cities and try and take over our cities, right? Same stuff, because we know the Ukrainians were involved in a lot of bullshit that happened here in the United States. J6 Ukrainians were there. In Canada, Turkish convoy, Ukrainians were there, busting heads of peaceful Canadians that were in Ottawa dancing. I remember I told everybody months before that, I see dancing in the streets, but then it stops. And then they started dancing in the streets in Ottawa around March timeframe. I said, it was around March timeframe. And then people came back and said, you said there was going to be dancing in the streets. Yeah, I said there was going to be dancing in the streets, but then it was going to stop. I just tell you what I see. I don't, like, come on. You make it what you want. And if it doesn't turn out the way you want, you blame me. So no, it doesn't work that way. All right. I just inform. All right. Senator John Kennedy predicts that what will force Schumer to end the shutdown. So of course I love John Kennedy. Never really gets anything done, but he is a funny guy. And he does talk a pretty funny line. So let's listen to him.
Rub this tart liquid on your teeth before bed to regrow your teeth and gums while you sleep,
That
and never
tart
set
liquid-
foot in an expensive dental office again.
You guys were right. I went to the ATM to try it for myself, and it totally worked for me.
I can't believe people still go to work every.
Trump could do likewise, but it's not personal for me, but I don't like almost anything that Chuck Schumer is doing. I don't like it. I mean, it's a direct contract. He wants to move the country in the wrong direction.
I don't hate anybody,
Neither do I.
and I know you don't. And when I say my prayers, I ask God, don't let me hate. I don't hate Chuck.
He's probably really good friends with Chuck. They're probably dying together. It's the way all these guys are. Whatever.
Senator Schumer, I know him well. This shutdown's not about policy. It's about politics. And Senator Schumer, this is what's going on. He is trying to get the loon wing, the socialist wing of the Democratic Party, which is in control, to love him. And they will never love him. They won't. He'd be better off doing what he did back in March, and just calling it like he saw it and keeping government open. Because what he's saying, we're going to keep government shut down until you, the Republicans, and President Trump give the Democrats $1.5 trillion, and they're going to tell us how to spend it.
We just had John Thune on, Majority Leader of the Senate, who said we can't do that.
And we're not going to do that.
You cannot do
We're not going to. I mean, it's
All right. So there you go. Both sides aren't going to do whatever it is the other side wants them to do. Right. So we're in stalemate. How long does the stalemate last? It's going to be a while. But yeah, you love the guy, but like I said, what has he ever done? Right? It's kind of like Joe Biden, never done anything. I don't know, but that's the way most of them are. They just talk and they never get anything done. Very frustrating. All right, so this is one of the reasons why you want to be in silver and why silver is going to go up. Boom. China's space solar power station and orbital feet fueled by silver savvy. So they're talking like hundreds. What is it? China is hoarding right now 20,000 tons of physical silver because they're making lots of solar panels. So this solar power station is going to be 36,000 kilometers above the Earth. And daylight never stops where this solar power station is. Doesn't Earth go around the sun? There's like dark sides and whatever. So is it flat? Is it round? What? I don't know. So anyway, this mile-high marvel collects and beams solar power as undiluted microwaves to receivers on Earth. I guess if they wanted to, they could burn some territories, maybe a town near you, right? So there's thoughts that maybe Lahaina was burned by a Chinese satellite. I don't know. But anyway, for China, this is the logical next step in national ingenuity, harnessing infinite daylight from the silence of orbit. Now, I think they said in here, so it's going to be using space station could run from 150,000 ounces of silver to over 1 million, but they think it's going to be somewhere around 300,000, right? Now, what's really amazing about this is it says in here how much fuel. Let me see if I can find it. Anyway, I think it says it's going to give enough power to be equivalent of all the oil that's burned all year for a whole year. This one space station for energy. I don't know where I saw there was something like that. All right, where is it? Anyway, go read it for yourself. It's in there. Right? Unbelievable. If that's true, right? I don't know how it's going to be like, always beaming electricity, because when it gets dark in some of those desert locations where those solar power stations are, there's no electricity being created. It gets stored up, batteries, and then of course there's cloudy and all that kind of stuff. So supposedly this station is in that perfect orbit where it gets sunlight all the time, right? And maybe that's the case. Maybe it's just in that position where it's like no matter where the Earth is rotating in this imaginary globe thing, not flat Earth or whatever, right? It's basically always able to beam down energy 24/7, right? So it's amazing. It's amazing. Yes. So in the meantime, in Chicago, there's been over 1,500 that have been shot this year so far, as Democrats claim they don't need Trump's help. All right. So, of course, they have their minions out there that are fighting against this. Some of them probably paid. I don't know. Maybe all of them paid. I don't know. But there is a problem with a lot of people's consciousness, and it doesn't seem they're getting it now. In Newsom and Arnold are fighting, and who do you think is going to win that one? Well, well, if it was a physical fight, I think Arnold would have him, but so I don't know. So I'm actually I'm going to a LifeWave conference, and then after that, I'm going to meet with some people at Venice Beach, where Arnold used to like train on the beach. So I'm going to go there after I think probably end of October, and do a workout. It's a dream come true, and there'll be like a drone, you know, above me filming it. It's going to be great. So anyway, that's where Arnold used to work out, and he built that, you know, that great body, and won all those contests. But anyway, he and Newsom have a little problem. Arnold says, no, we don't want all those Prop 50 ballots. And Newsom's like, well, if we don't do that, then the Republicans will be in power for the next 2 years, and we can't have that, right? So we in California have to stop that. And so it says, if we lose here, we are going to have total Republican control in the House, the Senate, and the White House for at least 2 more years. So yeah, we have it for 2 years. But we know that the last time Trump was in office, it was mainly the rhinos that made sure that Trump didn't get, you know, the House and the Senate on his side in the next term. So anyway, will it be different this time? Now, Texas has already given us, I guess, 5 more Republican slots. And we have, and then another one, I guess, in one other state, and who knows how many more will come. But California is like, yeah, we gotta stop this. We can't have them doing what we've been doing, gerrymandering for, you know, the last several decades. Now the Republicans want to do that. That's bullshit, right? So no. So Arnold Schwarzenegger has jumped back into the fray, urging voters to reject the measure. Now we know, like I just showed you, that California is completely corrupted. They're stealing all kinds of land and property for people. And are they going to do a fair ballot? Somebody's better get in there and like make sure they don't do another power grab. Otherwise, it's bye-bye California, and it's bye-bye America. All right, thanks to California, because Newsom, if he does a good job and does this, he's going to be the next president. Right. So if they can cheat in California one more time, it's like, see, we're good at cheating still, even though the Republicans keep saying they're going to like clean up the ballots. They're full of it. We still have control of it. Anything that we want, we get whatever we want in California, and we'll do the same thing when we go back to. But you know, Kamala did. She's a California girl, so so maybe not. Now, California County reinstates mask mandate. Now, this is what New York did last year. And now California's like, oh, they get away with it. Let's push that stuff again, too. And so where is this? It's county health officer in California. The people there are probably like, bullshit. But the county health officer tells them what they're going to do, because it's the deep state that's running the show in California. And you, as a citizen of the deep state, have no say. But if you are we the people and you push back, you will win. But you don't understand that yet. So you are a citizen, and then you are manipulated, compromised, and told what to do, right? I know it seems simple, but it doesn't seem to be working out so good. So it says the mandate is going to last until March 31st of next year. Requires the use of face masks by people in acute care facilities, skilled nursing facilities, surgical and maternity centers, and infusion centers, and so forth. Right? Now, where is this? Health worker, Santa Cruz. Remember that one movie, The Lost Boys, where they had all those vampires? That was in Santa Cruz, wasn't it? Does it Newsom look like a vampire? Yeah. I wonder if he's from Santa Cruz. Maybe he's one of those lost boys that became a vampire and now runs California. That's what I think. But whatever. No one cares. No one cares in California. All right. All right. So that's all I'm doing. I'm done. You're on your own. Goodbye. Good luck. All right. So, especially you guys in California. I'm right next to you, and I'm like, you guys. I don't know. Maybe if you elect Lewis Herms, right? Maybe no, there won't be no maybe. If you elect Lewis Herms, you'll turn everything around in California, child trafficking, all kind of crazy stuff. But California really likes that. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Lewis Herms to win because one of his main things is child trafficking. Kind of like that stuff they've been doing in L.A. P. Diddy and who was it? Playboy Mansion guy. Who was that guy that ran the Playboy Mansion? Anyway, my wife is saying she wants to eat, so I've gone too far, so I got to go. All right. Hugh Hefner just popped in my mind. At least I can go knowing that I got Hugh Hefner's name out there. All right, so good. All right, guys, lots of love. I will see you guys next time.